And if you think about what the world was like, so if you think about in that world where it was hard to share information, we had these really clear hierarchical structures, whether it's of how we govern our country or how we govern a company. It made a lot of sense. When it's hard to share information, it makes a massive amount of sense to have information going to one point with the person that's kind of got expertise around that. And that's not because we've been doing it wrong, it's because we couldn't do it differently. The cost of getting all the robust information before making a decision was too high. So what that means is that most people that use data at the moment have been trained to think in a certain way. Our mission is to enable everyone to make sense of data so they can see New Zealand clearly in a way that inspires us forward. So success for me will be, day to day when people become used to saying, oh, what are the figures on that? Data is a type of information that we haven't been able to share before. So it's the new kid on the block. And so everyone has lurched to thinking like, that's it. That's going to be the thing, the new oil, the gold star, the silver bullet. And so we're going to put that at the centre and we're going to, be data driven. And I was thinking about it's the wrong question. It's the wrong place for data to be. How on earth do we operate in that environment where there's so much information and we can't tell what is good quality? What people tend to do is pick the stuff that they want to be true and use that rather than actually kind of seeking to understand what's true. So it starts making you ask the questions like, who has the right to ask questions that require answers from the data team? Who is responsible for asking questions? Who's responsible for sharing it? And all of those questions, which we haven't really been asking, we also don't ask what data do we not collect, and we haven't really been doing that at a country or a company level because until we know what we have, we don't know really where the gaps are. And so it's a total phasing thing. Again, it's not that we've been doing it wrong before; it's that we haven't been able to do it in a different way. And so organisations I'm seeing are really struggling, and which makes perfect sense because you've got a whole group of people. Most people, as we know, aren't used to using data. And then you've got the experts, and there's no bridge between those two things. There's just a massive amount of pressure that usually comes top down to say, like, what does the data say? Use the data. And these people are like, well, we've got the data, but we're not going to be telling the answers because we don't even know the questions that you're asking. And these people don't know how to engage. And so that it's not being used. And so we see data as a language, when you think of it as a language that holds our stories, and we almost kind of lurched for a bit to go from, oh, it's not data-driven, it needs to be about culture. And then I've kind of gone back from that and gone, actually, culture is just the summation of behaviours, right? And if we just talk about culture, it's hard, you don't get tangible enough. And so I'm thinking about what behaviours do we need to change? And now that we're kind of 10, 15 years into this as widely around society, I think that the next shift that we need to start making is to move those from being the things that are our master and are put at the centre and move them to being at the periphery. And instead we should be mobilising around problems that we want to solve. If we think about many of the dream scenarios about what we could do to solve problems, or whether it's about driverless cars or whether it's about drones flying things around and delivering medical devices into remote areas, like all of that technology exists now. That's not the problem. It's that we're not mobilising around solving those problems. We don't need to keep, there's the amount of things that have been invented solve most of the things that we care about. We're just still focused on the item rather than shifting to focus on how to actually solve it. And I think that's the big shift that we need to really focus on.